Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We are playing in the Harbinger League with the Fall of Oriath expansion. And this is the episode where we actually start on our gameplay in Act 10. The final bits. So you might have noticed I still have the robots with me from the last bits of Act 9, the Chevron fight. Despite me recording this 2 days after I did that fight. And I liked them so much, I just went back and I did the final part of Act 9 again just to get these bots. They're just so freaking awesome. Really hope they're just gonna remain alive. Of course, dead minions are a bit more difficult to replace.
Gold without.
So we're doing a lot of damage with this build. That's the thing, of course, that the theory craft already pointed to it. This was just going to be a very powerful build, and while playing it, yeah, that just only supports that. In fact, if you might remember back to the final boss fight of Act 9. Where mostly what I did was just run around and minions took out most of the enemies, and all I did was just fire some Dark Pacts in every once in a while, but it was very much a one-sided fight. So when I went in the second time in order to, I was gonna do the Chevron fight anyway, so I might as well do all the other things and do the fight again, just to see what it would be like a second time. So as a challenge, I did it without casting skeletons. I murdered the Act 9 boss using self-cast Dark Pact on a build that is not entirely spec'd for self-cast Dark Pact. So now I don't have any life leech anymore. All I did just rely on my life flasks. And it was a little tricky. You want to keep some of your flask charges around to deal with some unintended slam attacks and things like that. The Scorpion add-ons in that fight definitely help just to help you recharge your flask charge every once in a while. But it was also pretty doable. So yeah, Dark Pact is insanely powerful. I think that's the entire conclusion. And even if you do some self-imposed challenges, then it's just gonna still be very, very doable. So this definitely has the potential to make it rather far into maps as well, because damage is not going to be our problem. And that leaves us open to focus more on survivability. But even now, I'm just slowly cobbling together the gear that looks reasonable to use. And keep in mind, I'm playing solo cell phone still, right? But I'm just cobbling together the gear. Nearly 2500 life, 2200 energy shield, and nearly 900 mana, which via Mind Over Matter effectively counts as life. So the grand total there is over 5500 points of health for a level 70 character. That's a fairly decent amount of health to start mapping with, and of course after we wrap up Act 10 here, mapping is what we will be doing. Okay. Some skeletons that have a little bit of a Kitara lookalike status. The odd trolls. But it is interesting. No, as I've been just playing a bit more in between episodes, not just for daily missions, but also just to farm some bits. I even went back to the labyrinth, which I rarely do, just to get some enchantments on my gloves and on my boots. Boots are still not good. Even went back a second time and still didn't get anything useful. No, first time I got bonus crit, which I don't actually use. I don't use crit. And the second time I got this one, which adds cold damage, which to my attacks, and I don't use attacks, so again, not really all that useful. But I must say, now that the labyrinth is only 10 to 15 minutes to run through, and there's a decent chance of getting a second key, so you're gonna get some decent drops out of it. It's actually not that bad to run anymore. Before it was just half an hour and it was unrewarding, so that didn't really help. Now it's better. It's shorter and you get more out of it. So yeah, I'm slowly changing my stance a bit on the labyrinth and just warming up to it a little bit more. Okay, question is there going to be a waypoint here? There is, so if it's still in the old place, then we need to run up to the ossuary. Which, if I remember, was all the way up there. Okay, those are new monster types, I think. Also, things are splitting. Kill Mother. What are they? Warped Regurgitators. First I saw them, I read them as Warped Regulators, which... having a court over there did make sense, but they're Regurgitators, which is slightly less useful or pleasant than a Regulator. One of the nice things about the Zendatta's Cassock is you start spawning the consecrated grounds all over the place, and even more than I would expect. I can, of course, just plop down the potion as well, but given the fact that I've now used the armor, the sulfur flask is actually strictly less relevant. Yeah, okay. If the canals are blocked, then that's difficult to get to the waypoint. Wonder if this has been moved in some way, or maybe we can use the path over on this side to get there. Hey, Harbinger. So supposedly Harbingers have been buffed. Oh wow, that was full on pixel motor. Wow, that's pretty impressive actually. Yeah, okay, there's fire effects going on, there's a boatload of pixel effects going on. Yeah, then things blurring up a little bit does make sense. And we're back where we should be. There. I think this is the first time in a fight where the dynamic resolution kicked in to just tone things down a little bit. Okay. Okay, so the Act 10 town is a little odd/inefficient in its layout. There's a lot of space that you have to just walk in between the vendors and the stash. There might be some kind of aesthetic thing to it, but just less pleasant to just dump things out of your inventory. At least we can cross the bridge here, that is good. Okay, can we teleport there? Yes, we can. Great. And see if we can get up there to the waypoint. This, I'm assuming waypoints don't move between part 1 and part 2 of the story. Especially in a town ruled by Kitava. It's a bit of a tough argument to make that someone took the time to move or rebuild a waypoint in the middle of a city that's just tearing itself apart. So, exactly. It pays to have a little knowledge of the maps and make some educated assumptions. Bone pits, okay. Solve the Trial of Ascendancy here, and then there's the Bone Pit stats even further. Ah, so it's just completely blocked off, so that makes it even easier. Okay, I do find myself wishing for some kind of Necronomicon, so that you can just determine the kind of specters that you get, because they are just so cool to have. I don't know, for me it's always the simple things, and I really get happy from having those little robots walk about and just making all those mechanical noises. Okay, just more Bone Stalkers. Okay, everything seems to be getting from up there. We're not getting attacked the flank, that is lovely. The reason we didn't get attacked in the flanks because that was the end of the area. That does make things easier. Ooh, and there we have a Haku.
Warrior.
The feel of the area is a little more intense than it was in part 1. There's a higher monster density, I think. And as a result, my minions just keep slaying. And combat just keeps going on and on and on. Which is good. Still wouldn't qualify this as a dangerous area. Though it's gonna be difficult to find a dangerous area, I think, for this build. With the exception of something like the Desecrate fight. No small space, lots of threats. Okay, there's a spirit in between. Okay, we got 90 seconds to get the heck out of here. So, doing maps like these, it's... Ooh, wow. I was gonna say, I usually don't bother with the summoning of minions and instead just run and use self-cast. Because now there is a timer element to it, and if all you need to do is just hit shift once while running to just start casting it, and whatever you encounter is gonna die, then yeah, it works out pretty well. Larger fights like these, having a totem does help. Oh, I think I clicked my totem, but it never actually popped up. That does not help too much either. But no normal mobs, they just die. Ooh, wow, there's a lot of damage coming out here. It's interesting, right? It fits the general pattern of every time I say, well, there's not a lot of things that the game controlled me that will hurt me. Then the next area, or even the same area, is gonna be the thing that proved me wrong. It's a pattern that keeps repeating and repeating and repeating.
A restless spirit fight.
Sometimes I do wonder if the game secretly just listens to the microphone and just detects, like, yeah, the player is boasting. Let's punish them for a little bit for it. That would definitely be appropriate. Okay, getting attacked from multiple sides. Hey, okay, so there is something over here. That's the Templar stash with the skull, the elixir of allure. Famous for her many lovers. Those that did not come willingly to Exile came by liquid persuasion. So, can we turn this into what Ciri's promised for in some way? That would be sweet. And there we have the final trial of Ascendancy. This is the Merciless Act 10. So this is going to be the one, the final one that we need to unlock to gain access to the merciless version of the labyrinth, which I expect is going to be level 68, more lethal than the cruel version. So let's listen and walk.
A leader cannot simply stride forward into the future and expect his people to be able to follow. A leader must look over his shoulder so that he can witness and understand the consequences of the path he has chosen, to ensure that his people are still with him, to ensure that he has not become lost.
Okay, pull the two levers, gain access through the door. And there we are. So it's a very simple version of what the
must know precisely where he stands.
What the endgame trials are gonna do. So it's gonna be Act 8, Act 9, and Act 10. Each with one, which makes sense. I think most of the acts now have a trial. Act 4 and 5 being the exceptions to that rule. Okay, so we gained the waypoint outside, we cleared this, so let's hand in our items, let's empty our pockets, let's now empty the stash, or fill the stash with our gear first. Then give the elixir of allure to Whalem.
Ya found it! Bless your boots, Exile! Me lady problems will be over at last. Let's give it a go then. I feel nothing. Blast it all to the ocean depths! Ruined! All them years sitting around in that damned ossuary, the love's magic fizzled right out of the damn thing. Ah well, can't blame a man for trying. Anyway, here's a little something for your effort.
2 respect points, lovely. Okay, so just double checking, don't think anyone will have something more to say about that. Nope, good. Baron, nope. Then next up, find the teardrop in the reliquary. And of course, after we do the side quests, we continue with the main thing. Okay, so I suspect now in retrospect, maybe going to the reliquary first, which might even have a waypoint of itself. Then you push over to the ossuary, which has a waypoint outside, and then from there you can move on to the Chamber of Innocence. Then you have the most optimal route through. That's one of the nice things about this. The first time through, you're taking the less efficient routes. You're okay, and again, it's just fading out. I suspect it might be just these fire animations that are just pretty horrible on the CPU, or maybe even on the GPU. I'm not entirely sure about which is getting hit the hardest. But no, first playthrough is going to be less efficient, but you are figuring out just the way areas connect, the way things are located, where quests are. And then after that you can more or less just draw an optimal line through it. And once you have that idea of what's optimal and what is not, then you can push through. Okay, this is where Utula used to wait for us. Heretical adjudicators. Okay, so this is a bit like the Bridge of Cossack, I think, in Diablo 3. Diablo 3, Act 3. There is a bridge that is also mostly on fire, and that is also the one place in that entire game that just drags my frame rate down from, say, 200 uncapped to, I think it's gonna be around 30 or 40 frames And that's also because of all the fire and the smoke, which is just murderous. And lo and behold, we got a similar kind of deal going on here. Also, somewhere along the line, someone managed to consume one of my zombies. Because of course we can have 8 of them. Find the teardrop. Yeah, see. Exactly, so waypoint. So you enter, you go to the relic quarry, you clear it, then you move over to the ossuary. That gets you the Ravaged Square waypoint. And then from there on we can push forward. Of course, the first time we went through Act 5, we had the light side, and then we had basically had the road to Innocence, and after that we had the road to Kitava, going back once in and then back out again. I wonder if this time we're only going to get one leg of that journey, rather than repeating it again. But I guess we will figure that out soon enough. Let's see, I think the cast damage taken is up to 65. Yeah, the bone offering, we can just keep leveling that one. Just roughly sticking to the right hand wall here usually works pretty well. Oh, granite flask. Ooh, lovely. They shoot multiple projectiles. Another boss that has allies cannot die. Doesn't really matter though, as long as we can get one skeleton next to it. The Dark Pact will tear through it. Might is right. Gets you a Trepannon. Dark Pact. Spectre. Slowly. I mean, Dark Pact, Totem DPS. I don't think this accounts for a life. I'm not sure if this is the skeleton or the actual player life damage. But yeah, assume your Totem DPS is going to be much lower than the actual damage output that you will do. Let's see, by now our skeletons are up to... Does it even say? Yeah, for 3,787 life. It's only going to go up over time. And it's especially the last couple of levels which will give you the most life. So this guy, skeletons is, yeah, C17 base, so the +1 from the helmet is going to make it 18. It's 18, 19, 20, that's where you gain a couple hundred life per level, which of course is then boosted by the 100 or 200% increased life that we have going for it. So that's really gonna matter quite a bit. Hey, a pro case. And the teardrop, it dropped. Ooh. So this is almost like trying to read the summoning verse for Cthulhu. I'm not even gonna bother. Not even gonna try. But anyway, we can deliver this back to Lily. Of course, emptying our pockets first. And a card. And a flask, yeah. There you go, 1 pearl for you, lady.
Exile, you're a giant among men. You got no idea how long I have yearned to have this beauty once more in my hands. The teardrop is surprisingly still in pretty good condition. Not too typical of the baubles them Templars like to steal. We'll stick around a while longer, but once things settle down, my grandfather and I will be setting sail with Sir Arthur firm in our sights.
That gets us a skill point, so definitely worth doing. And it was also the final quest needed for one of the challenges, so that gets me to 13 points. Already got the Harbinger eyes. Ooh, look at them, glowing all blue. So from here on out it does, there's a couple of low-hanging fruits remaining, killing 1,000 rare mobs, that's pretty easy. Vial bosses is just I guess a matter of just chaining vial fragments in once I get access to the map device. Identifying 100 uniques is just playing a lot, finding a lot of uniques and identifying them. And then you get things like completing the encounters, which... No, a monster with at least 3 essences, that's probably once we actually start encountering essences again in maps. Then that's going to be a chance based. Kill a living bloodlines pack, that's also just not play enough and you'll find one, especially if you play with some bloodlines maps. Echoing Shrine, I think I did not manage to even find one in Legacy League, so I hope we'll be luckier here. And kill monsters touched by tormented spirits is just a matter of waiting it out, that's just going to happen automatically. Using currency items, that's all the new currency, so that's going to happen as well once we reach maps. Leveling masters is just a matter of doing your dailies. Claiming essences, I think these are the top end corrupted ones, so it's just a matter of keeping an eye out for the top ends that can appear and then corrupting them. And defeat map harbingers, that means actually getting access to the playing maps and then killing harbingers there. That's also going to be one of those things that will just tick up over time. So I think pushing towards 20 is going to naturally happen, especially now that I'm playing on standard instead of a hardcore. It means I have the rest of the league remaining here. Let's see, we can allocate a jewel socket here. That is what I was going for. So now we hit level 70. We're going to assign the jewel socket. Then we have Mind Barrier here, we have the Alchemist over there. Those are useful things to pick up. And once we have those assigned, I just have to have a look at what's going to be... Oh no, wait, then of course we have the spell damage trail over here. That's going to be the remainder of the points. And once we have assigned all of those things, that's going to be level 80 for us. And that is where at least the theory crafted version of the build is done, and we'll just have to see what we're going to do from 80 to 90. I think going for Constitution might not even be a bad idea. On the other, because that will give us a boatload more life, which in the case of self-casting Dark Pact from time to time means we're just going to inflict more damage. So that is one way to scale the damage. Alternatively, we can say no, just go for raw spell damage. That's going to help you scale your damage as well. Or gonna go for Written in Blood over here, it gets you life and energy shield, and that way you can survive, you can increase your survivability in 2 ways. So there's plenty of ways that we can proceed after that, but for now I'm just gonna stick to the plan. But we've managed to clear the first bits of Act 10 here, taking out all of the side quests and getting ourselves some good strategic waypoint. So I think this is gonna be a nice point to call it the end of the episode. So next episode, we're gonna go after the Staff of Purity over in the Templar Archives or in the courts. And I wouldn't be surprised if after that we're just gonna go straight on to the other mystery waypoint on the map here that might even hold Kitava himself. But that's gonna be next episode. So for now, thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.